Good morning, peep and peepettes. It's just your madman. I hope everybody's well, and fuck me, I hope you're all doing well, or keeping safe, hydrated, whatever, in this heat. Yeah, it's taking its toll on me, and I'll probably get a video done without my dog getting involved. First of all, as always, I want to say thank you to anybody that likes my videos, shares, comments, whatever. I do have a look every now and then, well, as often as I can. Secondly, I want to apologise for the croaky voice, but it turns out I've got sinusitis, and I've had a sore throat for about, must be about 4 weeks now. Something to do with post-nasal drip. I've got an appointment at the NT in a couple of weeks, and ironically, they only found out that I'd got sinusitis, as bad as I have, when I went for an X-ray after being punched last week. Punched and kicked. So one good thing that came out of it was a diagnosis, so I can go get sorted. So I just want to jump in on, I think everybody will have seen by now, the situation in, I think, Rotherham, where the old bill sort of went, well, obviously we don't see the beginning of the altercation, we don't see the beginning of the situation. All we see is a couple of police officers surrounded by a bunch of yelling and screaming and pushing and shoving teenage girls, by the look of it, predominantly, that I could see. And then we see the police's reaction. So it's very difficult to make form a clear opinion on the police's reaction, because you don't know what they faced prior to the beginning of the video. However, is their force and their reactions necessary? To take a baton out and, I believe, pepper spray young girls, I am going to categorically state that force is not necessary. But again, it comes back to what happened before and what goes on. But a police officer should have the training to, even if it means like they did in Leeds prior to the Southport attack, when they were trying to take that Roma baby away, even if they have to retreat from the situation, back up, regroup, get more officers in, and then go forward and attempt to deal with whatever the situation is or was. The fact that 3 officers that I've seen at the beginning of the video, I've not really watched it all the way through, I keep catching bits and bobs of it and then getting disturbed. But the fact that 3 officers are surrounded by half dozen or whatever screaming teenagers does not give them the right to draw a baton or use their pepper spray, in my opinion. But there's something more sinister than that, I believe. Disclaimer, anything I'm going to say now, or have said, is my opinion. It's not stated as fact or the reality of the situation. It's what I observe and what I think. But like I say, there's something more sinister going on at the moment. I've mentioned in a couple of prior videos the police in certain areas being way over the top heavy-handed. With there was one in Southampton, I think, where they dragged a bloke off the wall who had pins in his ankles and beat 7 bells of shit out of him. There's been other instances where they threw a young lad in Sheffield, I think, smashed his head off a metal bollard and knocked him clean out. There was a situation somewhere else where they 2 burly police officers literally chased a 5-year-old screaming boy. The situation was something to do with his father, but that's not the point. The way that the 2 burly police officers manhandled that 5-year-old boy was well out of fucking order and downright ridiculous. So there's all these situations. Obviously there's the Henry Novak case where the police officers literally said, when he said, "I've been stabbed," and they went, "Oh, don't think you have, mate," and proceeded to handcuff him. Excuse me. And in that instance, caused his death. So he might have been stabbed to death by Vikram Digwa, but I believe the police officers involved should be charged with complicit to murder or culpable manslaughter, something along those lines. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. The police officers at these events, this is one of the things that is what word do I want? It's continuous. It's continuous for all these events. Is obviously the police know nowadays any situation there's a phone out with a camera on it. Fair enough. Everyone knows that. But the police aren't even hiding. They're not even disguising their behaviour. They're not subtly cracking some kid's head off the bollard. A couple of years ago I got arrested, coppers took me down and smashed my head off the floor. Shit happens, it was my fault. But they then got they then got somebody at the time who had video cameras on the house, one of my next door neighbours, to delete the footage, so I couldn't get it. But at least that was subtle. Okay? This situation, over these past few weeks and months, isn't subtle. The police know the cameras are there, like I said, but they're still going batshit crazy on innocent, well, not innocent, but young girls, young boys, even as young as 5-year-old, getting dragged, having his arms almost brought together behind his back, like they would if they was breaking up a pub fight. When they're battering fuck out of some bloke on the floor, like literally peddling him with fucking shields and stuff. They're not being subtle anymore. Now, there's two options. They've either just had enough of everything, but only as long as it's on the right. Because even when they push back against the lefties, they don't batter them. They don't even hardly ever even come out with battle shields, riot shields and stuff. So they've either had enough of it, or that there's a directive being sent out. And the directive, whoever sent it doesn't matter whether it was Keir Starmer, who's now resigned, or Andy Bumboy, or the fact that even David Lammy, fuck me, has apparently claimed he wants to run for PM. Yeah, make of that what you want. But wherever the directive doesn't come from them, they're the puppets. The directives comes from like the WEF, the NWO, the WHO, all that shit, right? They're the puppets. The politicians, whoever's in, are the puppets to the puppet masters, and the puppet masters are pulling the strings. So the puppet masters have now turned around and said, look, just get rid of anybody that's dissenting. We haven't got, the puppet masters and the politicians now know they haven't got the power to beat us legally. So they are going to do us all, one way or another, for dissent. And they're showing this show of force, because grabbing a 5-year-old boy by the arms is really intimidating to grown men, isn't it? No, it's infuriating. So I think there's a real big agenda to quell any dissent amongst the British, any dissent amongst the white patriotic Brit, or any patriot. There's a theme, there's a common theme running through all of this, and the police are just showing up and kicking the fuck out of anybody, and anybody that retaliates, anybody that fights back, anybody that stands their ground is getting smacked in the face with an asp, like I have been before, and is getting arrested, excuse me, and fast-tracked out of the system and into the prison system, so that we can't then have a voice. We're one voice down, 2 voices down, 10 voices down, 1,000. That is their plan, I believe. Again, my opinion. So we then come into a situation where you've got 2 bulls banging heads. You've got the police who have got their directives, and you've got the patriots who have had enough. What's the one thing that we're missing in this? We're missing the lefties, we're missing the muzzies, we're missing the Pakistani rape gangs, we're missing the very thing that we are trying to be. We're missing it because we're now fighting the old bill, and the old bill are fighting us. It's the back door route to letting the invasion take over. And this is where we need to smarten up. But you can't smarten up when you're being attacked by the old bill. Something to be aware of. in my opinion, something to watch out for over the next few weeks and months. Let's just see what happens. Anyway, that's what I'm taking from this. So as always, take care, look after yourself, look after your friends, your relatives, your elders, your neighbours, anybody around your table, anybody you see near and far. And in this heat, especially in this heat, people that you see on the streets that look like they might be struggling. Just look after each other. If we don't start looking after each other now, then they have separated and divided, and that's divide and conquer. Unite and fight and win, or divide and allow them to conquer. That's what it's coming down to. And as always, take care of yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. Stay safe, stay proud, stay loud. Peace.